Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Welcome,
Hi.
welcome to episode 18 of Auntie Listen. And we're going to start with our quote. Metaphors have a way of holding the most truth in the least space. And that is by Orson Scott Card. What do you guys think of the quote?
Now, sometimes metaphors confuse me, so it depends on who's saying it
Okay.
and what they're trying to say. Because I've heard some metaphors and be like, just really stumped on them, and it don't like either it'll never register or it'll hit me like a couple weeks later. Be like, oh,
Right.
that's what you were saying. Why
I get that. I'm like that myself at times. Auntie Johnny, should your thoughts on the quote?
I would like to hear it again.
Metaphors have a way of holding the most truth in the least space.
That's exactly why I want to hear it in because it sounds like a metaphor, kind of, right?
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
one of those things you
yeah,
have to kind of think about. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, it's a true statement, I would say, when
Yes.
used properly.
Yes.
When used properly.
Yeah.
Key term.
Right. That's why I picked it because it wasn't one that jumps out at you like our other quotes have. This one
Mm-hmm.
I really had to think about it, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a good one."
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, Auntie Marva, I'm going to turn it over to you for announcements.
Okay. So, guys, as you know, we would all like you to like, subscribe, comment, and share every um handler that we have on all of our platforms. You can find us on YouTube, Auntie Listen Podcast. Um, you can find us on IG at Auntie Listen. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, Auntie List 52888. And you can find us on TikTok at Auntie Listen and follow our Patron. And once you, it's $5 to, I'm our patron, I'm sorry, it's $5 a subscription, not the liquor, not the liquor. That is not, that is not a sponsor. Um, but $5
She said
subscription gives
Patron. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I did, but that was totally wrong. It's Patreon. That is not our official sponsor yet. But but $5 gets you
Wait.
early access. $5 gets you early access, and we would like you to follow our affiliate links. We have an affiliate link on at Amazon, Bed Bath and Beyond, Target, Walgreens, Walmart, and the Great Discovery. And get you some Auntie Listen merch at the myshopify.com. Auntie.listen, I mean auntie-listen.myshopify.com. Get you a mug, get you a bag, get you a handbag, get you a sweatshirt, get you something. Get something.
And something for
But
you.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And if you can't wear it, send it to a friend. Buy another one.
That's right.
right. Christmas is coming up, so check us out for your Christmas list.
Perfect time to get a nice little Christmas gift. And guess what? They're not even expensive.
Nope.
Right.
So, Um, November had a very interesting awareness month. It was very little, not huge like everything else, and everything is for the whole month. So not for a day, not for a week, the whole month. So the first one is Native American Heritage Month. We have National Veterans and Military Families Month, National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness, Morvember. Men grow their mustaches to raise awareness about men's health issues like suicide and prostate cancer. I was happy to see that because I always think about, well, we have our stuff, but what about them? You know, their health is just as important as ours. So it's nice to
Right.
see that they're not being overlooked.
Right.
Yeah. So, our topic for this month is navigating difficult relationships. And so, the first one I want to talk about is long distance relationships. And I came across this article and it said, and it's called Do Long Distance Relationships Last? And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I have the link, and you guys can go check out the link. But they did list 8 long distance relationship date ideas to help you stay connected. And the first one is organize a virtual movie night. The second one is play online games together. The third one is try an old school mixtape. The fourth one is cook or bake together over video call. The fifth one is plan a virtual tour. The sixth one, have a question and answer night. Seven, watch the same sunrise or sunset. And then the last one, start a book club for two. What do you guys think about this list?
That's a cute list.
Yeah. I've
Isn't it?
done quite a few of those.
I think, yeah, I was about to say, Janisha, you've done quite a
Yeah.
few. I've only done like the movie one, and the dinner one.
Okay.
Hmm.
Oh,
My
I
that's
my
do
issue
movies a
is
lot. Hmm.
my issue is with the time zones.
yes.
Because he's 5 hours ahead. My husband, for those of you that don't know, my husband is in the UK. So he is 5 hours ahead of me right now. And so, but he's always been, even when he was in Nigeria, he was still 5 hours ahead. So it's very difficult.
Mm.
When I say difficult, it's difficult to do that type of stuff. And it's just because in the beginning, we, forced ourselves to make time for each other.
Right.
But what I recognized was a, a lot of things with work and my personal life was being neglected. So we had to shorten them up. And in shortening those things up, I discovered that we were neglecting each other.
Right.
So you just have to find that balance, you know?
Yes.
It ain't easy.
Nope. Long distance relationships are not easy. They are not, what is that saying? They are not for the faint of heart.
Right.
It's for the weary.
Yeah.
Gotta be strong minded, strong willed, and you need lots of perseverance and prayer.
Yes, that you do. That you do. Yeah, my last relationship, he traveled all the time, and so we just saw each other um pretty much every quarter, and our time was so limited when we were together that I was selfish with that time, and I didn't want to share him with anyone. So all of my friends were like, I don't think he exists. I think he's just somebody you made up. Because
Mhm.
the only person that really met him was my sister, your mom, when we went on when we went on holiday when she came to visit. But yeah. So the next part of this is, how do you maintain a long distance relationship? And so they give 9 mindful tips to help make long distance relationships work. So the first one is embrace technology. The second one is check in daily. The third one is listen and communicate mindfully. Number 4, no detail is too small. 5, plan for the future. 6, focus on the positives. 7, stay in tune with your feelings. 8, establish clear boundaries. And 9, utilize the mail. So, what do you guys think about the tips that they gave for maintaining? And Auntie Marva, do you do any of those?
Well, I had a question. When you say
Okay.
stay in tune with your feelings, are you saying stay in tune with your feelings because to keep to like check them, like check your feelings at the door, or or run with them?
Well, I think what they mean by stay tuned stay in tune with their feelings. So like when my partner was on his business trips, it really didn't bother me because I'm I'm not one of those type of people that needs to have someone in my space all the time. But if you are someone that needs to have someone in your space all the time and your partner is gone, that could really be, it could play a huge emotional toll, you know, and you can, and it can cause you to doubt the relationship, to become depressed, or feel like maybe the relationship isn't for you. So I think that's what they mean when they say that, because they're just trying to, because in order, you need to be in a good healthy headspace to be in a long distance relationship. And if you're constantly feeling negative about the relationship, it definitely isn't going to work.
Trust is definitely a thing.
Yes. Yes. So, one of the things that they say in how to maintain, and I'll just read this little blurb, it says, maintaining a long distance relationship involves constant communication, trust, and creativity, and finding ways to feel connected. It's important to talk regularly, share your thoughts and feelings openly, and listen to your partner's needs. Planning visits and having a clear idea of the future of your relationship also helps, including your partner in your daily life through text calls and sharing photos or videos can make you feel closer. The key is nurturing your relationship and staying committed to each other even when you're apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
So
that,
does
what? I'm sorry, you had a question.
Oh, so I was gonna ask Auntie Marva, does that help with the stay in tune with your feelings question that you had?
Yeah, it did.
You're
Just
breaking
because
up.
I do that. I have issues where I'll get in my feelings, and but I I was saying that, not necessarily saying that I have some confusion in that area, but I used to. I was just kind of for the listeners that may have. But in the past, I used to have issues with that, and then I used to realize, like, wow, I'm not making this. Our situation is already hard. It's already difficult, and I'm not making it any better. I'm not helping the situation. So I need to check my feelings at the door and be a big girl, put my big girl drawers on, and realize that it's difficult on both sides, not just for me. Um,
Right.
but a lot of those things are very, very good. Like they all help, and it's all, like you said, it's not for the weary. It takes a very mature mind and a very mature heart to do something long distance, because any wrong conversation that you're any wrong, I mean, that happens in general, right? But any wrong
Right.
little thing, you're going to take it and run with it. But why? Because there's no access to them.
Right.
There's no access to them at that point. And we want to be validated immediately, but we can't because we got to wait. So little things like that I used to have issues with. And I mean, just a little extra, we're both cancers, and I am an emotional cancer, but I found myself having to not be the emotional cancer because he is a dramatic emotional cancer, and then neither one of us was willing to give. So I was like, dang, I guess I gotta grow up. I
Right.
gotta act like one of us is either walk away or one of us is gonna have to, just be that person. So I took the other side and of letting go of my overly cautious, extremely emotional thoughts and behavior, and because adding fuel to the fire doesn't help. So now I do my best to try to diffuse, and not just not pointing the finger at him and saying he's a bad person. It's just he has a lot on his plate too,
Right.
and I do realize that we are the comforters. We are typically the comforters in the relationship, and the guy typically goes to, um or the masculine energy typically comes to the feminine energy to be comforted,
Right.
right? So I try to be that for him. I try to be that for him. I try not to be as emotional, just because I know it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. So
Right. So, Auntie Janisha.
I, well, so much was said. I'm sitting here thinking, I literally just realized because I forgot what our topic was. But I was speaking with a trucker friend a few days ago, and he mentioned long distance relationship because we talked about our relationship, and I said, "Wait, what?" I didn't realize I was in a long distance relationship. I literally had not thought about it because I haven't been for long distance relationships. Not that I didn't think I could handle it, whatever. I just never kind of had one like that, a serious one.
Right.
But what it's making me do is be consistent, like with the reaching out and all this stuff. That's the part. Because when you're slacking on the consistency, then that's when sometimes the imagination can get to running away.
Yes.
So that's the date nights, all those things that you said initially, they are very important to keep those and to build them together. It can't always be the one person's idea. Like both parties have to do that, make an effort to come up with stuff. And yeah, creativity. Gotta be
Right.
creative. But the big thing with us, I would say too, is inflection, like the way we say stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't get to see them and have the cues as to when you can jump in and say something, right?
Right.
So those are the things that I have to work on:
Yeah.
consistency and communication.
Yeah. That was the biggest issue with um my partner and I was the communication. He had horrible communication skills, which given what he did for a living, you would think he would have great communication skills, but no. Maybe professionally, but personally, no. And I constantly would say to him, I need you to communicate with me more. And he was like, okay, I I will get better at that. And it was like, I'm like, you're not getting better, you're getting worse. Like,
Hmm.
you're supposed to be working on it, but now it's getting worse. So that was a huge um factor for me because I need communication. Not like constant communication where we're on a phone for like 10 hours. No, that's not what I mean. But if I send you a text and say, hey, how's your day going? It doesn't take long to say, oh, it's going good, but having to wait 4 days later and be like, okay, I haven't heard from you. Are you dead in a ditch? And then you respond, that's just not, that wasn't good for me.
Yep. Our communication is pretty good as far as keeping up with each other, and we'll sit on the phone for hours.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a question to that for both of you, since you're
Okay.
both familiar with this type of relationship. And I'm thinking it's my age that makes me feel this way. But did y'all at any point feel better that you were separate, or Marvel right now for you that you
I
are
hate it.
separate? You hate
I
it.
hate it. I hate it. It's too much. It's too much stress.
Mhm.
So we remember we've been together since 2019.
Yeah, it's been a long
So
time for you.
at one point, I did think it was better. I did think it was like, because, especially when it comes to work, it's like I
Mhm.
can focus on work without any distraction. And I work in a creative environment. So I need tunnel vision. I need to be able to fall into flow to be able to um, operate, right?
Right.
Mhm.
So that worked for me for a while. But then now with what I do working at in education, it's still creative but not as much, right? So now it's different. Now my needs have changed, and I don't, even though I still create, and I just don't do it to the point where I was. And so now I can put more attention on that relationship. So now I feel like, okay, I don't like this now. The loneliness creeps in.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so, the movie say occupy your blank time. I'm trying to occupy my time, but it ain't working. So I so I don't know.
Well,
I was okay. Well, it was okay. Like,
before.
I'll say for like a year and a
Mhm.
half, that was okay for me. For a
Okay.
year and a half, at one point I was like, all right, I can do this. It's fine, but not anymore. Not
But you
anymore.
weren't in this same position after a year and a half. So what changed what changed in the year and a half after the year and a half? You know what I mean?
Hello.
Cuz you were still okay.
No, she said hello. Are you
Oh,
still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
okay. I thought you said him, and then I wasn't going to push beyond that. But so my question was, I know that you didn't have the same position. You weren't in education after the year and a half. So what changed after the year and a half that caused you to feel that way?
Me not having to me not having to focus on my job or my create my when being in create when you're a creative, when you're doing and creating, the best time you create something is when you put your whole itself into it.
Mhm.
And I'm not in that environment where I'm creating like that anymore. So it doesn't
Gotcha.
require all of my attention. So I'm now working in education. When I'm networking, that comes naturally to me. I can do that with my eyes closed. So I'm not necessarily creating per se. I am, but I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not. I don't. It doesn't require so much because I can network naturally. I can network
Mhm.
even when even when I'm not supposed to be networking. I end up networking because it just happens so freely.
Right.
So what I do now in education doesn't require that much of my brain power.
Mm.
So I
Right.
think it's like, oh, wait a minute, hey, I got more stuff that I could do. Oh, I need something else to do now.
So I was thinking specifically about your current job where you are, but I didn't think about the change like a year and a half. Like when would this be? The middle of 2020, I guess.
No. Well, the change, I'll say in 2000, the end of 2020, I'll say the beginning of the end of 2020 was when it became, I said the end of 20, yeah, around that time, that's when I started going into the creative space again, like heavily. But 2022, about 2022 was when it was is like mid 2022 was when it became like, all right, um, you can come on now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Auntie, I know you're asking the questions here, but I'm just curious. Like, what about for yourself?
Oh
Did you
no, you're
find it
no.
easier to be separate?
Oh yeah, no, no, you're fine. Yes, for me, yes. See, I'm weird because like when he was here, it was like I can handle. Okay, first I can't handle people being in my space, which you know that. I have a hard time with people being in my space.
Mhm.
And so when he just he wouldn't let me know when he was coming. That was the lack of communication. So he would just show up. And you know how that gives me anxiety when people just show up. And so when
Mm.
he was here, I was it was okay for a few days, but then I was like, okay, when is he leaving? You know? And so and right about the time that I started feeling like that, then he was gone again. But then
Mm.
I got to a point to where I was like, oh, I miss him, and you know and then I didn't mind when he would just pop up because at that time we were in our relationship about 3 years in when I got to the point to where he could just pop up and it wouldn't give me, I mean, it still gave me anxiety, but not as much as it did in the beginning.
And did that
But
have anything to do? I'm in therapy mode right now. Did,
And I think I know what
did
you're finna
that
ask.
have
So go
something to
ahead.
do with you knowing that he would leave?
yes,
That it became okay? Yeah.
yes. I don't know what I would do if I had a partner that was around constantly.
Mhm.
I don't know how. I I
Oh, I'm a
just don't
Cancer.
know. It would take a lot of getting used to, and I require a lot of alone time.
Mhm.
And and I think and I feel that part of it is because I grew up being an only child, and I think the other part of it is my anxiety. So I those two things play a factor. But everyone keeps saying, "Oh, but when it's your partner is different." And I'm like, "It might be, it might not be." But
I think it would. It depends on the partner.
yes, yeah.
And like
Yeah,
Marva's saying,
yes.
what you're into at the time and how they can mold into that. And this is my final question. I promise, Marva. I have a follow-up question for you. Did you at any point, because your personal situation changed, therefore your desire for how you wanted to experience the relationship changed? Did that cause you any guilt at any time?
Most definitely. It
Yeah.
definitely did. Because I would and it was, you know me, I don't mind constructive criticism, and especially when I can recognize it from myself. So when I did, I was like, dang, that's not right. Now, because I don't know where he was mentally at that time. I don't know what he needed, or you know what I'm saying. I
Mhm.
know what he was saying to me, but I don't know if he was saying what he was saying just to appease me, if you will. So, um, and there were times that he would say, you're working a lot. And then the stubborn spoiledness in me will be like, well, I ain't used to complain when you be working a lot. I ain't never say nothing when you was working. And I would have all the time and patience in the world for you, and it annoyed me, but I still did it. So and I didn't complain. So why you gotta complain? And but then again, I realized that I couldn't be overly emotional. I had to grow up because this is like tug of war at this point, and we're not getting anywhere. But yeah, definitely did feel guilty about it, and I apologized.
Mhm.
I apologized. I apologized for my actions. I apologized for my thoughts, my thinking at that time. It was a lot. It was a lot. Um, and yeah, so. Mm.
Well, I'm gonna tell y'all why I'm asking these questions is because when I did a few days ago think about the fact that, oh, I am in a long distance relationship, I was comfortable, so I didn't think about it. Like, I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing because I'm able to take care of things that I'm responsible for without anybody, without having to really be responsible for anybody. In a relationship, you're responsible to and for someone.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're not physically together, I don't have to check in and check out like that. And plus, because I don't have a conventional job, I mean, I'm a truck driver, so everybody pretty much knows what's expected of us out here. This is my thing after I thought about it. I don't mind being separate, even though we get along great. But as I thought about it, and as I've sat with it, I think that my thing is the more that I'm not, that we, the, if the longer it stays like this, the longer we're gonna keep this. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like once we get all that together time, whenever that happens, that's when the problems can really start because you're going to be there. Gonna be
Well,
sharing
that's when you
space
start
and
to,
all the stuff.
yeah, that's when
Yeah.
seeing the real. You're no longer seeing the avatar.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that bothers me. That's why
So
I'm feeling comfortable.
does it? Oh, it bothers you that you're feeling comfortable,
Yeah, that I don't know when I'll want to because I don't want to be there right now.
but who says that you have to?
Nobody, nobody. I
Okay,
just know
I'm
that
just
there's gonna
curious.
come a time because
I'm
we both
just
talk
wondering.
about it. That is my end goal. I do concretely want that. I want to be off the road and in a real thing, but a part of me is afraid of it.
So what part are you afraid of? Are you afraid of him um being there all the time um and getting to know the real you? I mean, what are what are you afraid of?
I think it's okay, being a Capricorn, I know that my money is gonna look different for one. He makes
Right,
really good money and he's not stingy at all. So I'm not it's not that, but I'm used to having my own and
right.
right now I make really good money. So if I play my cards right, I won't have to worry about certain things because I won't have debt or any of that. I'll go home with some money. But he lives in a state that I'm not familiar with. It's far away from my family.
Okay.
It's just quite a few things. I would be going to his territory. He would not be coming to mine. We already know that. He has a 9-year-old.
Okay.
But all
So,
the unknowns, I guess. I don't know.
okay. Okay. So, the money part, being a fellow Capricorn, um, you don't have to mix your finances with this. You don't
Right.
have to. Knowing we are we are a lot alike. We love to work. We're just weird that way, and we're built that way. We love to work, and we like to be able to buy something that we want without having to ask someone for money to get it.
Hmm.
So that part doesn't have to change unless you want it to, but it really doesn't. The other stuff, I totally get that. I totally get that because those fears that you have, I have those same fears. I have those same fears. Now, the part about being in his territory, well, I mean, you've moved outside of the area to new areas where you didn't know anybody and didn't know anything about the area. And what happened? Did the world stop? No.
No, I create my world. That's just it. I'm not
Exactly.
afraid. It's just that
I
But
think
I
she was. I think it's
I've
because it's
I
so far away. Is
yeah,
that the
there's
okay,
that,
fear?
and plus
It's
I've
so far
grown
away.
softer. Like now, I don't even have to work to be quite honest. I've done all of that. Like
okay,
I do enjoy working, but at the same time, we've talked about me not working. But
okay.
I don't know that I'm gonna be um content.
So
I guess
l-
that's the thing.
let me ask this. If you're not going to
Period.
be working, say, driving truck, are you going to restart your farm?
No,
You're not going to
Maybe.
restart the farm.
No, no, because it's a farming area and there's like a lot of competition. And
So
I might go and be employed on somebody's farm assisting because I really like the work, but not for myself. I don't see me doing that in that area.
why? Because of the competition?
No, because it's, well, yeah, I guess it's the same thing, but no, I'm going to use the word saturated. It's a smaller
So,
town, farming town. I really would like to do something else, community wise.
okay. What about your herbs?
Yeah, I could do those, but I mean, I really don't want to do, for my personal self, I don't want to do a business like that. I've done so many different things, so that's not a thing for
Okay.
me in that
All
area.
right. I'm just trying to add a
What I
little
want to do, I want to work
perspective.
with women and children. That's what where I'm leaning towards. Like even before I came back out here, I was back in school for psychology. So I want to help people and work one on one or with families or something like that.
Okay. So, problem solved. There we go. Now, next. So now this kind of what you were saying goes into the next part of this. It says, is 3 hours considered a long distance relationship?
3 hours away?
Yeah. If you
Yeah,
live 3 hours from each other, is that considered a long distance relationship?
I'm gonna say yes.
I would say so. Yeah.
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 But then we come from an area where it would be, I hear like people live in cities, that's their commute sometimes to get to work.
Yes.
So I don't know that. I wonder if they would consider it
But
that.
but is that really 3 hours moving, or it just? Well, I guess 3 hours is 3 hours. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Traffic.
Well, according to the article, it says it depends on the relation, it depends on the couple and their circumstances. If traveling those 3 hours is a challenge and you can't see each other often, it might be considered long distance. So my partner in law and I, we lived in traffic an hour and a half to 2 hours. We lived in two different states. And so I was like, well, I didn't really see that as long distance because I was in his state a lot for work. But I felt when he was off traveling, then that's where the long distance came in at.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see? Yeah,
Yep. Hmm.
yeah. Because I'm like, oh, an hour and a half, 2 hours. Oh, that's nothing. I drive more than that in a day. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So for me, I did not see our his home base to my home base as long distance. It was when he got on a plane and was in another state or another country. To me,
Hmm.
that's where the long distance came in at.
Yeah, because you can liken that to military families. They actually live in the same household, but are deployed for certain amounts of time. And
Right.
then therefore that would be long distance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So our next topic is respecting boundaries. I've dealt with this a lot in my life. I would set boundaries, but other people um, didn't want to respect my boundaries and would tell and dictate to me what I should and shouldn't do. And it really irritated me. And so I just wanted to read this little blurb about boundaries. And it says boundaries are the emotional, mental, and physical fences that we erect in order to protect and maintain our psychological and physical needs. So, my question to you guys is, have you ever set a boundary and got pushback for it?
Yes.
Yes.
Auntie
Yes.
Janisha, you want to? Ex-
Um, a number of times. It's been so much, cause I'm pretty easygoing, and sometimes when you're easygoing, then somebody doesn't take you serious when you say something because you don't come with the. This is like it's not clear, I guess.
right,
And I guess a lot of times for me, because of how I think and interact with people, then sometimes I've been in error expecting them to automatically know things. So it was like I just was not clear. That's what I found. So and then I take that blame on myself,
right.
that sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yes. So I've had to learn to set clear boundaries and let that be that.
Okay. Auntie Marva,
Same, same.
the same.
Um, Very easygoing. Well, I take that back. I used to be very easygoing. I'm not difficult now, but I now life has showed me what I like and don't like, what I'm willing to tolerate, and what I'm just absolutely not going to deal with. Um, but in the past, and I had an ex tell me like we talked about that. In the past, I used to be very I used to try to appease, just thinking
Hmm.
that's what I was supposed to do. And because of that, they felt like the little whatever they gave me, whether it time, attention, whatever, how small it was, I'm not going to say anything because I appreciate it all.
Right,
That created, um, when I used to hold things in. And so I would hold it in and hold it in and hold it in and then explode. And I realized that that wasn't adulting. That was just a temper tantrum. I just need to be grown enough to say or address something at that moment.
right,
Not everything, just not being a butthole and just being a nagger about everything. Good grief. But yeah, not being a nagger and just nitpicking every single thing, but just being firm about the things that are deal breakers for me.
right,
And so fast forward when I started doing that, and I had these individuals that would try to give me that pushback, I over explain, like, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to realize that, or for you to see that you may not realize that you did that, but I have explained to you that I don't like this thing. This is something that I don't like, and you did it. You only get three chances with me with that,
right,
because I know I've said I don't like this thing, and here it is. You've done it again. I mean, you've done it. So then after those that third time, like, okay, that's it. Like, and I'm willing to, to give a person three times because we're human. This
right,
may be a habit that you've created within yourself, so it may take you some time to break that habit. But I done told you that I don't like this thing. And each time that we have this conversation, it's slightly more aggressive than the last time. So it's not like I'm saying something and then letting it go and then saying something and letting it go. After that third time, that's it. I don't have a problem with walking away. Not at all. It was a meme that was on social media today, and I shared it with my two best friends. It said a cancer will cut you off so fast and disappear. And ghost you would be like that Homer Simpson me where he vanished into the shrubs. Yeah, you won't even notice. You won't even realize that I'm gone until you realize that, wait a minute, I ain't heard from her. Yeah, ain't no argument. It ain't nothing. It's just not meant to be because you don't respect my mind and you don't respect how I feel. And I've told you this is something that I do not like, and I've given you humanistic real time to be able to work with this and deal with this and acknowledge that this is something that I don't like, and you still don't care. No, I'm good.
yeah. I'm like that as well. I had set boundaries with a family member, and it had been broken several times. And I specifically, when I set the boundary, that I was cutting all contact. And when I say I'm cutting all contact, that's what I mean. So when I move and get a PO box and change my phone number and say don't give my phone number out to this person, that's what I mean. And unfortunately, my dad had to pay the price for that because someone in his household gave my phone number to his ex-wife, well, my mom, after I specifically stated that she wasn't to have it. And so I changed my number and then he couldn't have my number. Wow. I think it was 3 years before he got my number again. It was a
Ooh, that's
hard lesson, but I set that boundary for a reason.
okay. Now, can I ask a question?
Sure.
What if Daddy would have died within them 3 years?
I was calling him. I was calling him
Oh,
regularly.
okay.
I was in contact with him. I was calling him. He couldn't call me.
We just calling him on on a block number.
No. Well, back then, we didn't have caller
Oh
ID.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was just the okay.
Yeah, we didn't have caller ID back then.
Because Auntie said what she said.
Look, when I say it, I mean it, you know. And it was a hard lesson. And she called and she apologized and she was like, "Can your dad please have your number? I promise I won't give it out again without your permission." And I'm like, "No, because I can't trust you."
Poor thing.
And so when she moved and he got a new person in there, I was like, "Look, this is the thing." And so, yeah. And so then he was able to get my number. And so when she called him to say, "Oh, do you have Destiny's new number? I was trying to get in contact." He was like, "No, I don't have her number." Even when he did have my number, he said no, he didn't have my number because he didn't want to have to go through that again because that was hard for him.
Holy little old thing.
Yeah. So so um so yeah, everybody, they're like, "You were a trendsetter. You went no contact before it was a thing." I was like, "Oh, is that what they call it now? No contact?" Oh, I did that a long time ago.
I could tell you what I something that I do. Um, and this young man taught me this when I was 16 years old. I thought that was that man's girlfriend. So one day we get into an argument, the only argument we ever had, and we were going back and forth. And I said, "Well, if I'm supposed to be your girlfriend," and as soon as I was saying the word, he was saying, "You're my what?" Now we have been together for months, doing all the stuff,
Oh,
and I was 16 and he was 26. So that was a wrong right there in the first
Whoa.
place. That
wait.
was that was the thing. But I didn't think about that. But when he said that, he lived about 6 or 7 miles from where I lived. His apartment was that about that far. Maybe 5 to 6, I don't know. But anyway, it's far. I left that apartment walking. I cried all the way home, but I formulated in my mind and I never went back on this. From here on out, every single relationship that I ever encounter, I'm going to ask them what we are, and not that manipulative way that some women or girls do it. What
Right.
do you call us? That kind of no, 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 no. Whatever you say that we are, that's what we are. I don't care
Right.
how much I like you, and I'm 51 now, and from 16 to 50, this has just been me. This has
Right.
just been me. And if they say I don't really want a woman, but I really want to still kick it with them, we kick it. But you can't hold me to all of the other standards. And they try it,
Period. They
but I
do.
make
Right.
them say what it is exactly, not what we said we wanted coming into this. But right now, I give them a moment. Okay, because you see how I am. I think I would like to get closer to you or not or whatever, but I leave it in their court. And
Right.
I stick to my guns on it. And I've been able to do that just because of that hurt on that day with that guy. And I've never wavered on it. Never. And I will remind them, no, you said you didn't want a woman, so I don't. Why are you trying to act like I'm supposed to be doing this or that? Or
Right.
if I do the this or that, I let them know in no uncertain terms it's because I'm a giving person, because I am naturally that. But do not think for one moment, because I've not forgotten.
And I
I
never forget.
literally make them have to come back and and say something different, and then they have to then show something different. You got to
Right.
step it up. I just went through that last year
Oh,
with
I
this
was so
person.
proud of you.
Yes. And it was the best relationship that I have ever been in my entire life.
No,
That
that you have
never,
ever not been
yeah,
in.
ever not. He treated me wonderful, but he's going in said he did not want a woman. That's not what he was. And again, we are doing all the stuff. It was beautiful.
Right.
But at some point, it was like a year and a half later, I said, I can't stay here. I told him straight up, I can't. Everything's been lovely. And he did not understand. Why are you breaking us up? Because you knew going in that I actually do want to be in a relationship. I just told you that you have to not ever treat me differently, which he didn't. So I stayed there and got the good treatment.
Right.
But you can't drag me forever. I'm going to get bored with this. And that's what happened.
Right. So I want to ask this. I'm going to read this list because there were some on the list that I knew, but there were others on the list that I did not even think about. So, the first one is physical boundaries, and then you have your coitus boundaries, your emotional boundaries, your mental boundaries, your time boundaries, your energetic boundaries, and your material boundaries. So the last three, I didn't even think of as a thing for boundaries. So is there anything on the list
Can you
that
run through the
you
list one more time? Because you would
Yeah.
say something and my mind would kind of wander off.
Hmm.
okay.
On that thing. Say them all again.
Okay. Physical boundaries, coitus boundaries, emotional boundaries, mental boundaries, time boundaries, energetic boundaries, and material boundaries.
What is coitus?
Coitus, that's,
Sex.
yes.
Okay.
I changed it from what it was, to
Greasing.
because
Okay.
sauce finna,
Um
yeah. You're so silly. So I said,
so what
so
was the question again now?
so I did not think of or realize that time, energetic, and material could be, you can have boundaries around those things. So,
Hmm.
was there anything on the list that you didn't think of as a boundary?
I mean, was there a description for energetic?
Yes. It's related to our energy levels are affected by others or activities.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And the material boundaries, which are often include our financial limits.
My potato chips, different things. Like, don't touch my food. I don't want you drinking out my cup. Yeah, no, none, nothing.
So
Mm-mm.
yours is material
Hers
boundaries.
is not material.
Okay.
No,
Hers
I
is
wasn't. I
food.
wasn't saying that that's the biggest one. I was just saying when you said money, it's okay.
Hers is not material. Hers is
But that's what she
specifically
Well, that
food.
said.
is material. Those are
But it is,
Specifically food.
yeah, but that, no, that would fall under material.
because you said money. I'm not like that about
Baby.
money. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, she's like that. Yeah, that. That's funny. Because when I set my boundaries to protect my mental, emotional, and physical health from from my mom, from that person. You
Mhm.
know, yeah. And we already know what my coitus bound. Why I have my coitus boundaries, but we kn- that's for another time. But yeah, I never thought about my time being setting limits
Explain that one.
on my time.
Explain
So
the
that's
time
what
one, because that's what
it
I'm thinking.
says.
That I'm
How
big on
we
my time.
how we set limits on our time. Yeah. I I never thought about it, and therefore I never did.
See, the physical, the time, and the energy,
Mhm.
for me, they all, to me, they seem like the same thing. And I'm saying the way I see them being the same is, I'm a person, I like my alone time.
Right.
But my one of my love languages is also quality time.
Mhm.
So I need to see effort over there. We're not breaking dates and all that stuff. Um, but I do enjoy being by myself a lot.
Yeah. It's
So
funny. It's funny
physical,
that
the time and energy, I don't know.
yeah, it's funny that we have the same love language, but we're the same, but we're so different.
Hmm.
I'm a smotherer. I think I smother.
You're
I well, I used to be. I can if you let me, but I read the room.
Hmm.
okay. Okay. So then they give some tips on how to it says tips to consider for respecting others' boundaries because we want people to respect our boundaries, but are we good at respecting other people's boundaries? So the first one is get curious about the other person's needs and boundaries. Number two, watch for nonverbal cues that someone is uncomfortable. Number three, be empathetic. Number four, be receptive. Five, learn about other people's experiences. Acknowledge and reflect on the boundaries someone has set. Apologize when you violate someone's boundaries. Forgive yourself for making mistakes too. And nine, it's okay to ask for help. So, my question is, have you violated someone's boundary, um, whether you knew or didn't know?
Yes.
I'm sure we all have.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
unbeknownst, especially saying unknown and unbeknownst. Definitely unbeknownst because we can, those saying treat people how you want to be treated. I might not
Mm-hmm.
want to be treated like that. You may think you're doing your best, but I might not want to be treated like that.
Right.
I know a big one that I violated. I did it on purpose. Um, and I'm not saying this. I'm not promoting it. But however, when when whenever I have gotten the thoughts or the feeling that someone was cheating, I'm not a
Mm,
person that will just come out and accuse people. I don't like that, because I like to know what I'm talking about. But
Yeah, I
it
need
has
some hard
never
evidence.
failed me that when I've felt that way, it's been that way. And because I'm not a straight out accuser and start acting funny with you and all this stuff, then I'm going to look. And there's that, they say, "You don't look in their phone, you're going to find something." Well, that's exactly why I'm looking, because I'd rather be wrong, but I've never been wrong. So I will look. And that is overstepping the boundary. But at the same time, it prevents some other stuff to me, because if I go a long time and invest far more, that it those things never end well. Mm-mm. When I
mm,
knew what I was feeling, because I'm going to be beating up on myself, it could end, badly with them, some other kind of way or whatever. I'd rather know as soon as I'm feeling this. I give it a moment. Maybe I'm tripping today. Whatever it is. I give it a moment. I sit with it. But if that feeling does not clear up, if those behaviors or whatever is causing me to feel that way, oh yeah, I need evidence.
Good old fashioned trust your gut.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
for me, the one that I have the hardest time with is the non the nonverbal cues, because I don't pick up on social cues. So that one is the hardest one for me. Yeah, that one's the hardest one. So I'm like, okay. So I rather just ask questions.
Yeah, I don't mind asking. But you know what? When it comes to question asking, some people don't like for you to ask questions. And
Mm-mm.
That's true.
I will ask questions because that's for the exact same reason I over explain. I want to over explain, and then I'm not doing it because I think you're slow or dumb. I'm over explaining because I want to make sure that we're on the same page, and I'm willing to do that for understanding. But some
Right,
people
Hmm.
don't like that. It's a lot of people that really real deal don't like that.
Right. And
right,
I found that to be the case with a lot of men. They, from my experience, it often gets to when they are able to explain, they think that you're accusing them of something just because you're asking for clarity about stuff.
Yep.
mm,
That has been very consistent. And I like
interesting.
asking questions too. I love communication and all the stuff.
I like asking questions because I like to talk.
Hmm.
Right.
Just
Well,
trying to
I
get to know them.
yeah, and also too, sometimes I just need clarity
Yeah.
because we all know I don't always get things. It takes a while. So the last thing I want to talk about is building trust in any relationship. And I wanted to get you guys's perspective on this, because everyone in the room knows that I have trust issues and I don't start with trust. And when you destroyed what little bit of trust you have, then all bets are off. So when I
Ooh,
was thinking,
that's cold, Auntie.
yes. So when I was thinking about the topics that I wanted to talk about this month, trust was up there, because I want to I want to work on my trust issues, but when when you've gone through everything that I've gone through, it's kind of hard to do that. So they gave 12 general tips on building trust. And so um I'm going to go through them, and then I want your perspective afterwards. So the first one is be true to your word, and there's 12 of them. So and then it's communicate effectively, build trust gradually, make decisions carefully, be consistent, participate openly, be honest, help people, show your feelings, avoid self promotion, do what you believe is right, and the last one is admit mistakes. So we've already established that I'm not one that starts with trust. So, Auntie Janisha, do you start with trust, or does
I
trust
do.
have to be okay? You do.
Yeah, I trust everybody because people are just people, and I also have a distrust for people. I swear everybody's serial killers, or we all have the potential to be. Especially out here. Like as soon as I jump in this truck, I lock my door. When I walk around my truck, I could be, and I do laps around my truck.
Hmm.
I will lock my truck, even because I don't know while I'm way in the back on the far end over there, on the passenger side, somebody's hopping in over here. Yeah, I don't. But I trust everybody at the same time. I literally do. I just have that other person in the back of my mind, understanding people's um, abilities, right?
Right.
That we all have the potential to be a psychopath in any given moment. So it's both. but I walk around with a nicey on my face.
Okay.
You have to do
Auntie,
something to undo the trust.
okay. Auntie Marva.
I definitely start with trust. Um, and I think that has a lot to do with how we were raised. We had to do so much to earn trust, and we had to do so much to earn trust growing up that and I always felt like that was so unfair.
Okay.
I felt like that was so unfair. So I never want whenever I go through I learn and I try to go through what I've experienced. So I never want to treat people in a way that I know that affected me negatively. I don't want them to have to experience that. And so growing up, we had to bend over backwards to prove that we were trustworthy about everything. So I definitely do not I try to give people the benefit of doubt. But then again and again, because we're human, you that might be how you operate. And it might be cool with you. It ain't cool with me. But then that goes back to the over explaining. I'm willing to explain and tell you, no, it's cool. It's cool. That first go around, it's cool. We can talk about it. It's cool. I don't like this because X, Y, and Z happened, and this is what and it made me feel like this, and I really wasn't cool with it, and I didn't like it at all. But I'm willing to um I'm willing to show you or help you get through this or because I get it. You just didn't know. Second go around. No, bruh. I told you this. I didn't like that. And I don't really like that. And then you know what I'm saying, as and it just grows. But trust is one of those things that sometimes you gotta be careful, depending on what the trust is about. Because sometimes and I know that I know what I'm saying. I'm just trying to think of a scenario just to even point that out. There's some situations where trust has to be a one and done type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
You can't give too many passes because then people think you soft, you a heathen, and it ain't never gonna be my situation. Thoroughbred, you dig? So
Right.
don't ever wake up and think you're gonna try. I'm, I'm cool and copacetic, and I don't mind explaining, and we can get through some stuff. But don't you never in your dreams. Okay. But now trust is very important. Trust is very important, and I think we all deserve it. I think everybody should at least get, even if it's just one shot. Um,
Right.
you know, you know.
So the other thing I was thinking about when I was um, looking up articles for trust, I was thinking about Hillary Clinton, you know, and I was thinking about if I was in her situation, would I? Well, I already know that I wouldn't because once the trust is broken, it's broken. But I had to commend her because she stood by um Bill Clinton even though he broke her trust.
Did she though,
She's
or
still
did it
with them.
just look like that?
Obviously she's still with them. They're still married to this day.
But there's perks that come with her position being there,
Okay.
right? That we don't have access to. Even
So,
like when people stay together for their children. I know
okay.
that my one husband, we were together for the longest time because we ran a store together. So I just said, man, bump it, I'm out, peace, right? Like there are different reasons why you stay with something, and sometimes it's not that really commendable.
Or cut and dry.
Yeah. But
Okay.
I would say Bill didn't get like that when we found out about it. There's been many a story that that's come out, you know.
Right. So that was going to be my other question because the country had a trust issue with Nixon, and then we had a trust issue with Bill Clinton. Do you feel that, how can I say this? Do you feel that by those instances that we were we as a country are put in a position to where we just don't trust our presidential candidates?
Are we put in that situation every voting situation, B?
Yeah, I know, but right, I know that, but the two things that stood out, those two things really stood out to me because of the situations that um that happened. I mean, I know all the other ones. I'm just like.
Well, my thing isn't necessarily the president, him or herself. Mine is the government itself.
Okay.
So it's the, like whatever Bill Clinton was to me, like okay, you're holding that office. It should be there should be a standard.
Right.
But at the same time, nobody talked really about the standard for the country and what it looks like. It seems to just be about him doing that. And to your point to what you said, she was good with it, so I was good with it at the end of the day.
Okay.
Because my overall thing really is the government itself, how they don't really work for us. They don't work for we the people. That's what it says, but that's not what it is. That's a system over there. And the system is trying to get what the system is trying to get. And we are pawns, right? So
Right.
it's really the system that I don't trust. And they're just being who they are in a position serving that system. So I
Okay.
really don't think about that part because it doesn't that part really kind of doesn't matter since you're not working for us anyway. I don't really give a flip about your character
Okay.
like that. If that makes sense. I don't know.
Yes.
Like
No.
I
No.
should, but it just you're a great guy, but you still work for them over there. Or you're a horrible guy, but you still work for them over there. Nobody's working for us, so that it doesn't matter to me like that with
Right.
them.
Yeah. So that was, yeah, that was like my question, but I just didn't frame it correctly because you know, as a country, because she forgave him, do you think we should have? But
I think it was none of our business like that.
right.
I agree
I
with that
mean, I
because
feel
that's
I
a
feel
relationship situation that
right.
mind your business. That has nothing. Whether she be with him or not doesn't make or break us. Because they're powerful business people all the time that cheat on their significant others. We see it, we hear about it.
Right.
What's the Amazon dude? Amazon still Amazoning.
Right.
Right. Right. No, I get that. And I get that. I get it that it's their private affair, but because of the position he held, it became a public thing. So
Mhm.
that's what that I just wanted your take on that.
Yeah.
So if you were in that situation, not like in a public figure like that, but if you were in a situation where you found out that your partner um did something that destroyed your trust, and it doesn't even have to be like an affair, but I mean like anything, do you think it would be something that you could recover from and repair, or does it depend on the situation?
I mean, I done did been with people that done did way more stupid stuff than that, and embarrassed me publicly, and that's my man, and I'm gonna stick beside him. So it it just doesn't. I don't think I don't. I don't really think that matters, because it's kind of individualized, like or where I am, I guess mentally at that time. Like
Okay.
I don't really. I guess I've always kind of been in that place where I don't care what people think.
Mhm.
Like I
Mhm.
really don't care what you think. I could care less. Embarrassment is not a embarrassment doesn't matter to me.
Right.
So you can't embarrass me. But it's all about how your deeds affected my heart. That's the part that will determine whether or not we're gonna stay together. I don't care what them people out there thinking because there's plenty of relationships where people I was thinking the worst about people's relationship, and they actually cool. They good. They in seventh heaven, just lovey dovey. And people got all this, that, and the third, and some more to say about their relationship. So I don't care what people think. It
Mm,
shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't.
right.
Hmm.
Auntie Janisha.
I feel the same way about that. Like, because I've put up with some straight up foolishness, and I've entertained some other things that I wasn't clear on whether I could deal with it or not. But my thing for me is to walk in with my eyes open. I don't try to pretend something is what it isn't or none of the stuff. I will give it a shot because I'm not sure
Okay.
if I can deal with that or not. At this point, I know what I can and can't, but like coming up through this relationship situation up until
Mm-hmm.
this age, there are certain things that at one point I was like, I ain't going for that. And then give it a shot or something, whatever.
Right.
But again, it's always about me. I think on it for myself. I've never been manipulated into a thing. That 26-year-old man taught me that. Like, once you say it out of your mouth, then I'm going to watch your actions. Do they match? Okay, and this is what I'm going to confront you on if it's not matching.
Right.
And I'm good. And if I allow you to do anything beyond now I see a difference or it's not adding up, then I always take that on me. I take that
Okay.
on me. So I don't worry about I'm like Auntie Marva, I don't worry about what people have to say. I've been married more than one time and I've had people that try to make me feel bad about it, but I've not given up on myself. Number one, I wonder if people have given up on themselves that they won't get married again or the first time or any of that, right?
Right.
And I've not given up on, and it's not that I don't respect marriage or any of that. I actually do. That's why I'm not quitting because I know it's, I just made a mistake the first 10 times, right? Just throw a
Right.
number out there, 10. I haven't been married that many times, but I'm just saying I haven't given up. I know what I actually do want,
Okay.
and I
Okay.
don't worry letting anybody make me feel weird about it.
Okay, Elizabeth Taylor.
Listen.
Okay, so we are going to move on to our segment. So the first one is Loving Connections. And this one is we're going to pick an activity to share with your partner, and you're going to alternate each week. And
Mhm.
over to Auntie Marva for Career Corner.
Okay, so career corner. For those of you that may remember, I kind of somewhat um I work in entertainment. I'm sorry. Somebody sent me something. I somewhat work in entertainment. Well, been working in entertainment for a very long time now, and now I work in the education of the entertainment industry. And so these these leads that I am going to share with you are somewhat, kind of, sort of based around that industry, if you will. Maybe, maybe not, but I don't know. Anyway, the very first one is an Amazon job. Speaking of Amazon, we're talking about Amazon again, right? This job is a content reviewer. It's with Amazon. It is remote, and um, as a content reviewer, you'll work towards the review of advertisements for Amazon Dynamic advertising program. And so you'll review and audit videos, advertisement and content, and emails, and check the advertising content with careful consideration of given guidelines. It doesn't require to have too much, other than a bachelor's degree. You don't need to any experience because they are going to train you. That, again, that is a remote position, and there's several of those. They're looking for a lot of these all across the country. Actually, in the U.S. and domestically, but I saw at least 15 of these different opportunities. Um, so that's one. That's content reviewer on the Amazon. You can go straight to Amazon.com, go to their careers tab, and click that, and you should just type in content reviewer, and you should be able to find the lead. The second one is also with the second one is with Tubi. Tubi is the latest streaming, one of the latest streaming sites that everybody watch their movies on, and it's very popular when because a lot of the movies look real bootleg. But that has become a niche that people like to see these type of movies. Tubi is now owned by Fox Corporation. This position is called Associate Experience and Metadata. It is based out of Los Angeles, California, but the position is remote. They're seeking an associate experience, and I'm just giving a little bit of extra information for this, just so that you kind of understand the positions. As associate, they're seeking an associate experience and data metadata to join their team, and the role is part of the content operations and reports to the senior manager of experience and metadata. And it will work with other members of that team to ensure accurate metadata and categorization for all new titles launched each week, as well as all old titles in the library. It's a full time position, it's hourly, and it is again fully remote. Currently, all Tubi employees either work full time from home or hybrid, and the offices are Chicago, LA, New York, and San Francisco, and Tempe, wherever that is. So you don't need a lot of experience. They prefer someone with a bachelor's degree, and English speaking, and so I'm sorry, Spanish speaking in addition to English, but they're going to train you. Um, so you can go to Tubi, you can go to, sorry, Greenhouse, and you'll be able to find it. And just type in Tubi, and you'll be able to find that opportunity. The third position that we have is also again remote. The company is called Adia. Sorry, it's spelled Adeia. It's a marketing operations specialist position. That is remote. It is a very fresh position. This one requires a little more experience. But this position was just posted, so there isn't too much competition at the moment. They do require a bachelor's in marketing or digital communications, and at least a minimum of 3 years of experience in marketing. Um, and the last position is with the company Moise. I don't know if I'm saying it right, Moises, but they're seeking a social media manager. Again, for marketing and communications, totally remote, full time position. And this position also, again, requires a little more experience, and a minimum of 5 years in marketing or social media. So I tried to find two that were early start and two that required some experience. But if you check out our bio, you'll be able to see these links down there. Click on it, get your resume, touch it up, make sure your resume mirrors the job description. That is key. Make sure your resume mirrors the job description. I'm gonna say it again. Make sure your resume mirrors the job description before you fill out the application to heighten your chances of being recognized. Okay? All right.
All
Okay.
right.
And then Auntie Janisha is starting her new segment, Remember When? So, Auntie Janisha, take it away.
Yeah, y'all remember when Auntie Marva, yep, you're old enough to maybe remember this. Remember
Girl, I'm
those
old, girl.
right. I know you are. I was trying to be nice. Remember those two brothers over there in Beverly Hills that murdered their parents?
Yes, man.
Yes. It's now streaming on Netflix. Lyle and Eric
Yes.
Menendez. Yes,
Mm.
those ones. So I had no interest in watching it, but I have, and I didn't even know that they have both a movie and a documentary. Both are streaming. I've watched both. Way too invested in this. Um, it's so crazy because the movie left me like, well, did they do it? They're in prison, but did they do it? There's like so many things that point to yes, well, they did do it. That's not the question. The motive behind why they said they did it after it all came out. You're not sure. So, but I was wanting to encourage people to go and watch it and then see if you can figure out like did is it true? It just left me in a lurch, just all messed up, and I don't want to be feeling this way by myself.
Oh, so you want us to you
I
want us to watch this
do.
just so
I
that
can
so that your misery can have company. I see how it
right.
is.
And then, but I'll tell you this. I feel like just from watching other things over the years and being any kind of way, the way I'm interested in psychology and stuff like that, the way that they murdered their parents, it was um very brutal. So it did point to something going on, like mentally they just weren't there. Something happened to them that would cause them to have that kind of rage. That was my thing. Now when you watch the documentary, you it's things seem to be cleared up a little bit more, but just watching the movie, it goes back and forth and you're just not sure because they
Oh,
tell
okay.
so many lies and it's a whole bunch of foolishness, a whole bunch of foolishness.
Oh,
But
okay.
that led into me thinking about the show that we did, and it was a year ago this month, called Dealing with Loss, because they did go through a lot. And whether um, their motive holds up or not, I still feel for them because they were young. I just can't imagine. But I went and I got if y'all want to check out this one where we did the dealing with loss, it's our season 1 and it was episode 7 last November, where we gave out some numbers for people because this is that time of year where people tend to go through things mentally because of families coming together, and it just tends to send people over the edge for financial reasons and just other reasons, right?
Hmm.
So we gave out these numbers. Um, and one is to SAMHSA, SAMHSA, which is the National Helpline. It's for mental health and violence. That number is 1 800 662 HELP. Again, it's 1 800 662 HELP or 4357. And then also you can text them, and this is free, right? Text them at 988. And if you just need somebody to talk to for whatever reason, because these young men, they said that they were molested by their father, right? And it just made me think, because you never know. We just never know. So I made sure I went back to that episode. If you want to check out that episode again, it's episode 7 from our first season 1 year ago, and it's called Dealing with Loss. So that was pretty much it. Just to encourage people to take a look at that movie documentary and see what you think.
Okay.
See what you think.
All right. Well, we're a little short on time, but we won't get through all of our open topics, but I'll do the first two.
Okay.
So the first one is, what can you talk about for hours? Auntie Marva?
Man, food.
You heard me whisper potato chips.
Food. I can talk about shrimp burgers, buffalo burgers, steak burgers.
Sound like Forrest Gump.
Right.
Right.
Shrimp fried, shrimp,
I
shrimp
don't even
biscuit.
eat. I don't even eat burgers, but if we can talk about it, I might enjoy you enjoying a burger.
Auntie, Auntie Janisha.
Yes. Mine is the same. Snacks all day, and
Snacks all day.
tiny homes too. I really enjoy that. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say tiny homes, vampires, The Sims, and books.
Hey, The Sims.
Yes, The Sims.
Auntie, you play The Sims?
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
That's
Here.
the one thing I won't talk about. Anything video game related. I mean, I talk about the music that's in the background on the soundtrack, something like that. I don't care
Um,
nothing about no video game.
well, I mute that. So I mute that and watch movies. So the next one is, if you could, would you have a personal trainer, personal chef, housekeeper, or a personal glam squad? Auntie Marva?
Man, that's tough for me because I'm into fashion. Nope, I don't need a glam squad because I'm into fashion. Mm-mm. So, chef or trainer or a housekeeper? Man, that's hard. I don't know. I don't know. I
Okay.
enjoy cooking, but I wouldn't mind if somebody took that off my hands. I definitely need to be pushed when it comes to working out. I don't mind working out. I will work out, but and y'all can clean any day, every day. I don't know. That is a great question, and I have absolutely no idea which one I would choose, other than saying I would not do the fashion thing because I can do that myself.
Okay. Auntie Janisha?
Yeah, I wouldn't do the fashion thing either, even though I'm horrible at it. I don't like people messing around with me.
Yeah.
So no. I
I
I
wouldn't say
enjoy
you're
cooking.
horrible at it. That's not true. You have your own style.
Yeah, I do.
Some stuff I wouldn't wear, but you
So
definitely have your own
I like
style.
polyester, okay?
That's what I'm
I like
saying. Some of
polyester.
your stuff, but your stuff is great for you. Like I wouldn't wear it, but when you put it together, I'm like, okay, girl, look at you. You know what I mean?
Yes. So no, they can't touch my personal style. She's cooking. I do. I'm like you. I enjoy that too much. So that's definitely out. Housekeeping. I think that would be the thing. The personal trainer. I would just really. They annoy me. I know I need that, but I don't like people. Because when I don't feel like doing it, I really don't feel like doing it,
Right.
and so
But a
I wouldn't get
real,
the most out of it.
I've had a real personal trainer that recognizes when just don't want to go any further, or you can be pushed a little more. Like I've had the opportunity of experiencing a really good personal trainer, so I ain't mad at that one. I actually like that.
So you need a personal trainer that will recognize and respect your boundaries, is what I hear you're saying.
Well, I want them to push me as far as they know that I can go,
Oh
but
no,
then
no, I was talking to
also
Auntie. I was talking to Auntie
okay,
Janisha.
okay.
Oh,
No.
that was a no. Actually, and I've had a personal trainer. Marv, I was telling you about my personal trainer a few weeks ago. He was actually great. But that was the time I was
But
trying to make my soon to be at that time my he was my soon to be ex jealous by
Mm,
me getting really and then breaking up with him. So I
mm-mm.
was super motivated.
Mm-mm.
I was
Mm-mm.
I was super
No,
motivated to get me
no,
together.
no, no.
I mean, I
But
like it.
no.
I like it a lot.
That is, I mean, I'm not saying that is just so wrong, but I mean, I get it. But oh my God, someone has to play devil's advocate. That is so wrong.
And you play
But
devil's
you get it.
advocate, and
But
I'm
you
over
get
here
it.
with the Poochie. Auntie,
Mhm.
you play devil's advocate, and I'm over here with the theme music. You could never, ever get on my level.
So
But
for me,
I did well. So
yeah,
it would be the housekeeper.
it would be the housekeeper.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I couldn't decide. I was having a hard time trying to decide.
Me too.
I was like, I love to cook, but if I had a personal chef, then that is more skills I can add to my arsenal. So I think the personal chef for me is
Hmm.
going to be the personal chef. Well, ladies, that is it. It's always so sad when we come to the end. So,
Nah. How you say it's sad to come to the end is if we ain't got 13 group checks.
what? It's always sad when we come to the end of an episode. It's always sad when we come to the end of an episode. Let's see. What holiday? Oh, Thanksgiving is coming up. So want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and safe Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much turkey to where you're like feeling like you're gonna float. but enjoy being with your loved ones.
If it's
And we
anything like fried
stop
turkey,
saying
if it's anything like my cousin's fried turkey, don't share, cause I ain't.
you're just gonna be floating.
Man, that thing so juicy. I can't stand turkey, but I had his. I was in awe. I just didn't know they could be like that.
So everyone, we will catch you next month, same time, same place. Until then, peace, everyone.
Au revoir.
Peace and love.
Toodaloo.